All right, let's see here. Bingo, bingo. Good morning, Eric. All right. Um, so let's get rid of the four horsemen. That's proprietary. We don't share that. Um, here's the all-time high. Top 3,000 for the first time. Trying to find that article. Dang it, man. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. S&P. No, see, that's talking about going up. No, 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 no. I'm still trying to figure out all the markets going down. We don't want to see the markets recover. If I find that article, guys, I'm gonna put it in the student room. I know I have it. I just got to go over my list and see if I can find it. All I got to do is go to the article and type in Russell, and it'll give me the article. But right now, I can't seem to find it. But there was an article that kind of broke it down that all of them did the correction. The only one that didn't do the correction was the Dow Jones. And as I said, we showed you the numbers last Thursday, where it came down to the 40,800, 300 points away. And I believe sometime this week, we're going to get that 300 points. We're still looking for the Dow Jones to commit to that 40,500. Once the 40,500 comes, then you're going to start seeing everything recover. At least the institutions. You're going to start seeing them come back in from their safe havens. They're going to exit out of their safe havens. And then that's when you're going to start seeing the news start giving all of this bullish sentiment. And they're kind of already preparing for it, but they're going to start talking about individual stocks, quarterly earnings. They're going to get back to business. I already showed you that article that they're exhausted of Trump. They're ignoring this whole thing with the tariffs. They're tired of the back and forth. And I predicted that last week. All right, so just be cautious in the markets. The CPI report, that was another thing that kind of allowed the markets to bounce back.
Hey,
You
Coach,
had
are you sharing your screen? Because we don't see it.
I'm not sharing anything in particular.
Okay. All right. Just checking. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Um, Powell got on last week, and was basically reassuring us that the economy's doing well. So everything is pointing towards this correction is not going to be a major impact on the markets because we already know the first thing they want to scream is recession. But they are turning their backs on Trump. We're tired of it. Commit to a direction so we can get back to business. Because like I told, I couldn't imagine showing up every day, and sometimes during the day, you're changing your direction, changing your analysis, changing your allocation, changing your programming, your algorithms. I couldn't imagine. We have the best system. Stay out of the markets. Watch, wonder, wait. Let the markets commit before we commit. Let the markets commit before we commit. Everybody else is running around. Don't frustrate yourself. I was on the phone. Here's a little tidbit. I was on the phone with Lonnie this weekend, right? Lonnie did not like the fact that I kind of shut down his Fibonacci retracement because that is a part of his harmonics, right? So he calls me this weekend saying, "Hey, Aaron, I got something to show you." So he gets me on the phone. And he's trying to convince me that the Fibonacci retracement works. He says, "You got to stop looking at the percentage. They're ratios." Okay, no problem. Go ahead and explain to me. So he broke the whole thing down, and it was complicated. He was taking me through this and this and this and this, and I was listening. You're right, Lonnie. Go ahead. And here's the first thing I told him. I said, "Okay, Lonnie." I says, "Here's my first question," because I had to walk him through it because he doesn't know our curriculum yet. He doesn't understand. Like most people, they don't understand the protection, power, precision, proficiency. And that's what I told him. I said, "Lonnie, I would love for us to do joint ventures, to do like a podcast." I even talked about streaming on Twitch, coming up with a streaming platform, all of these things. I said, "But if we're going to dialogue," I said, "we do not have to match on everything. If you want to use technical analysis, I use what you call fundamental, fine. We can have our different perspectives, our different, techniques, our different styles, no problem. But if we're going to do that in anything that we do, everything that comes out of your mouth on that podcast, everything that comes out of your mouth on that streaming platform, make sure that every word is anchored on protection, power, precision, proficiency." And that's what I broke down to him. I says, "Lonnie," I says, "I know that most of my students and the way that I've developed teaching my students, we have to make it as simple as possible. And a lot of things that you have are complicated. Technical analysis, going on the back end, looking at all this is complicated." I said, "Okay, now you explain to me all of this, right? Start to finish. You explain to me." So here's my first question, which I mentioned in the Fibonacci webinar. "Where's your start point?" And then he gave a whole rendition on that. "Here's my start point, blah, 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 all complication." I said, "You see how you had to explain that?" I don't do that with my students. I said, "I've come up with such a simple way where we don't even need the charts. I come up with ways where you can do it in your brain." That's when you saw what I explained, where I tell everybody to memorize the Fibonacci numbers, because there is a level of accuracy in the distances between the numbers. I don't want them adding up percentages. They don't need to. They don't need the ratios. But he's telling me that all those numbers in the Fibonacci sequence are ratios. Okay, one divided by 1 is 100. 2 divided by 1 is 50. That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. The 3 divided by 2 is the 28, whatever it is. He's dividing one number into another. But that is not how Fibonacci numbers move. They don't move with ratios. They can, but it's complicated. And we don't have time to calculate ratios in our brain. Let's go find some confluence points. That's your point zero. That's what I told him. I says, I already showed my students where their point zero is, because that's the term that he uses. Where's your 0 point? Your 0 point is a strong level. And we want to confirm, because that's the reason why I showed you guys the Fibonacci arcs, the Fibonacci fans, and the Fibonacci time zones, because you have to move the mouse around, until you find your 0 point. But that may not be right, because I brought up the whole Warren Buffett about the illusion. You're seeing what you want to see. And if you're moving the mouse around, trying to find where everything lines up, how do you know that lineup is the correct point? You don't. So let's eliminate all that bullcrap. Let's find confluence. We know it's a strong level. Let's go inside our charts and find clean levels, ceilings and floors. Second confirmation. That is how we find our 0 point. The beginning of everything. We got to have a strong level to know where the 50% and the 100% is. But 95% of people don't start off at the right point to find out where the 100% is. Most people don't have it correct. So let's eliminate that entire thing. Let's take it off the plate. And then I went into that part as well. I says another reason why we don't do it is because the institutions are watching. what you're doing in your charting, and they're setting traps. And because they're traps in technical analysis, that does not fit into the protection, power, precision, proficiency. And I kept bringing it back. And then you know what he started doing? Because he doesn't think at it from that point. And I would explain something else. He asked me if I short the market. No, sir. We don't short the markets because there's leverage involved. I said, and leverage is borrowing against money you don't have. Protection, power, precision, proficiency. I said, we also don't use shorts because they oversell the shorts. I said, it's a scam. I'm not going to put my students through that. Protection, power, proficiency, we don't do it. Shorting the market is a scam. And you know what he said after I explained that? I gave him something to think about because most people don't do this. They just follow what everybody else is doing. And then I also brought up when I said I don't short the market, he tried to say, well, how do your students trade in a bear market? I said we trade the reversals, we trade the pullbacks. He says that's dangerous because you're not following the rule of the trend is your friend. I said the trend is your friend is a technical analysis rule that does not apply. And as soon as I said it, he remembered that he doesn't always follow the rule. He says, yeah, sometimes when I'm doing my analysis, it doesn't fit. So I trade the opposite. I said, I know you do. I said, so here's how I want you to look at it. And I had to break it down in simplest terms. You have the market, you have the cycle, you have the trend, you have the rally. That's how it works. And each one of those is a different time frame. So when you're trading a bear market, a bear cycle, a bear trend, or a bear rally, you got to figure out your time frame. You got to be able to zoom in and out. That is your strength that you have to learn when you're trying to trade a bear market. So I gave him an example. I say, let's say you have a bear week. Every day of that week, the market is bear. But you can predict when the market is going to be bullish, and you only trade that day that is bullish. Then you get out of the markets. You're not going to hold anything overnight because that also doesn't fit into protection, power, precision, proficiency. So you're only in the markets, about 15 minutes to 30 minutes at a time. Even though the markets are bearish, you found an uptick in bullish. You're going to trade that bullish. You're going to hop back out. And here's how I explained it. I said, when you're trading bullish, do you trade when the markets fall down? Nope. You get out of the markets. Nobody's going to stay in the market, unless they have the liquidity. Nobody's going to stay in that markets when it downturns. You're going to get out before the market turns around because you don't want to lose your money. I says, so you're trading the upticks and you're exiting on the pullbacks. Just do just the opposite in a bear market. Stay out of the markets when the markets are going down and then trade the upticks. You're doing just the opposite that you would have done trading a bull market. You just got to be able to pull in and out of your time frames to make sure that you're not in a bear trend. You're not in anything bearish. You want to make sure that you're only getting in the bulls. That's it. And you want to know what he said after I said that? Because no one's ever taught him this. And he has to learn this if he's going to be in our community. He's got to learn the way that I teach. Protection, power, precision, proficiency. Only way to do it. So everybody that's been coming to me for 2 years talking about Aaron, you don't know what you're talking about. They're not anchored in what we're teaching. And I've even told you this, that I was having a conversation about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. I introduced what I do. Everybody's telling me it's wrong. Here's what I do. And I said, that doesn't keep you protected. Well, here's what I do. I said, there's no precision in that. Oh, here's what I do. That you're not in control of your trade. I don't want to be in control of my trade. And there's a difference. You just said it. You just summed it all up. You're trading in a way where you don't want the protection, power, precision, proficiency, because that limits how much money you think you can make, because that's how you were taught. You got to let go of some of these rules so you can make more money. And I'm telling you, you don't have to. If you stay within the confines of protection, power, precision, proficiency, trade in small increments, trade at early entry. I'll give you all the times when you can make the money. I'll show you all the times that the markets are safe. but they're quick to tell me that I'm wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Nobody else does this. And there's another point. We don't want to trade like everybody else. We want to trade like Warren Buffett. We want to trade like Ray Dalio because all of this advice that I give you come from them. Period. And I'll give you another example. I posted a video talking about crypto being a casino, right? Now the quote came from Hayden, can't remember his last name. He's the crypto expert behind Libra from Argentina, and he was also behind the Melania coin. So the man is an expert, and I have an interview that he had, right after that Argentina fiasco. There's a guy on YouTube that was interviewing him. My students have seen the videos, so I posted those videos on my TikTok. Right? He's specifically saying every crypto is insider trading. Every crypto is a casino. He did not sputter. He did not qualify. He did not exclude. He said all crypto. If you don't think that there's insider trading, he says, I don't know if the market's going to fall to zero. I treat it like a casino. All of these quotes from these videos. I had somebody come into my comment section saying that's only Solana. Did he say it was only Solana? So I say, you know what I'm going to do? Because everybody starts bringing up all of the hedge funds that are turned around. Oh, Larry Fink turned around. Bernstein turned around. And the reason why they turned around is because they're now offering it and they want to make as much money. As soon as they install those ETFs, everybody turned around because now they have their own casino. They are the house. So of course they're going to turn around because they're making money and they want you to bring your money into their casino. Of course they turned around. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out and get a bunch of billionaires that's going to confirm that it's a casino. Warren Buffett, Jamie Dimon. So I posted the Warren Buffett video of him saying that it's a casino. And then people are quick to say, oh, no, that's not true. And here's my point of saying all of that. I set all that up to say this. When it comes to me quoting these billionaires, everybody is quick to follow Warren Buffett. Everybody's quick to quote Warren Buffett. He's the best of the best. We'll listen to everything Warren Buffett says. What is Warren Buffett trading? What is Warren Buffett selling? Oh, I'm going to do the same thing. But the moment that Warren Buffett says that crypto is a casino, crypto is a scam, oh, he don't know what he's talking about. And that's exactly what he says. Warren Buffett's not always right. Yes, he is. That's why he's the GOAT. He is, in fact, always right. And I just showed you an article that man knew the correction was coming 6 months before. He was selling off 6 months ago. So yes, he is always correct. But people are quick to follow Warren Buffett until he says something that you don't agree with. But who do you think? Who do you think is more equipped? Who do you think is more knowledgeable? Who do you think has more experience? Who do you think is more successful? How are you have the audacity to say that Warren Buffett doesn't know what he's talking about? When this man's been doing it for 60 years and has the greatest record in stock market history. Stop it. You'll agree with him quick when he agreeing with you, but you're not willing to change the way you trade when he's telling you something different. Red flag on the play. There's a reason why I quote the billionaires, because you can trust what they're telling you is true. So who do you think should change the way they trade? Are you asking Warren Buffett to change? Are you asking Ray Dalio to change? Or should you? Maybe I'm doing it wrong. But people want to come up with excuses when it doesn't fit their narrative or fit their style of trading. Warren Buffett is not always right. Yes, he is. That's why he's Warren Buffett. I have a unique style and a unique curriculum. Every single thing I teach you comes from a billionaire, and I'm constantly quoting them. And the reason why I bring this up is it's another echo. Listen to the billionaires. Why do you think I quote them? Stop thinking, oh, Aaron, it didn't work for them, but it's going to work for me. No. I was a second child. I had an older brother, and I did not get in trouble that much. I still did my dirt, but I didn't get in trouble as much as my brother because I learned from his mistakes. He did something. I watched how he got in trouble. I watched how he got caught, and I didn't do it. I either didn't do it at all or I did it a different way where I wouldn't get caught. The billionaires have already did it. They've already shown you it doesn't work. They've already given you advice so you don't make the same mistake. Oh, no, they don't know what they're talking about. I know it's going to work for me. I'm special. And that's the number one thing about people. Everyone thinks they're special. Most of you are not. Most of us are not. We have the most unique curriculum on the stock market, guys. No one is trading like we are when everybody should. That's the craziest part. Nobody wants to trade like we do, but my curriculum is default. We have the strongest and most robust trading system, trading style, because I make sure every single thing that I have you do is advice from a billionaire. That is where we get our protection, power, precision, and proficiency. If the billionaires aren't doing it, neither should we. And think about that as your default, mantra. If the billionaires don't do it, we don't do it. Period. Think about the level of protection that comes with that. We're doing it right. Everyone else is doing it wrong. But everybody else is going to look at the way we do it and like, nope, that's not it. Everybody else is not doing that. Thank you. Thank you. Love it. Thank you for that compliment. We don't do it like everybody else. Thank you for that compliment. We don't want to do it like everybody else. We want to do it better. So, what are we looking for this week? Let's recap some of the things we're looking for. And these are more predictions, guys. Like I said, I'm going to create that prediction timeline this week. I love that idea. So, some of the things that's coming this week. Number one, the markets are going to continue to go down. We're not done yet. All right. We're looking for that correction with the Dow Jones. Now, let me also say this. We may not get it. We may not get it. But I still think that we will. Let's see if the market gives it to us sometime this week. We already showed you that the markets are cautious on their rebound, and inside that article, I'll probably post that in the newsroom or the student room. Inside that article, where they say that they're very cautious about the rebound. Actually, this is the one. No, this is another one. Let me find another one. They say they were very cautious. Let me find it. Here it is. All of this value in the markets, and nobody's buying it. Big tech stocks at cheapest in months fail to entice weary buyers. Everybody's very cautious. They're waiting to see what the markets are going to do. And we all know what to look for. We look at the four horsemen. We look at the dollar, we look at the bonds, we look at the gold. We're going to see those markets retrace, come down. And then right after that, you're going to see the markets kind of go back up. So we already know what to look for. Good morning, Sylvester. So that's the first thing. We're going to see if the market comes back, the Dow Jones, specifically the Dow Jones. We're going to see if that comes back down. All right. The tariffs aren't done. Trump is going to get on the news and say something else to drive the markets back down. And we're going to see if we get that 40,500. We got really close, within 300 points. So let's see if the market confirms the last market to give us a correction. The Russell did 18%. The S&P did 12. Nasdaq did like 15. But we're looking. I think the Dow Jones did about 8%. So we're waiting to see if the Dow Jones finishes off the correction. Now, like I said, the news is going to tell you it's already done. The S&P gave it to us. We're good. But we know the real metrics to look for. And another reason why I want that correction with the Dow Jones is because I want the markets to get back in sync. That's the number one reason why I want that Dow Jones correction. Because that was the real thing that we were looking for, right? When we were talking about this last week, what was the initial conversation about when we got into the correction? I said the correction, and I kind of gave you that visual that every time the markets go down, when they come back up, they resync a little bit. And if they keep doing that over and over again, eventually the S&P and the Nasdaq are going to resync up with the Dow Jones because they were off. They're historically positively correlated. Well, we went to the markets and we showed you that the spots are not correlated right now. They're very off. The Dow Jones is disconnected from the S&P and the Nasdaq. So we want that correction to kind of line those markets back up, put them back in sync. And I believe we may need to get the rest of that Dow Jones for that to happen. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how the S&P and the Nasdaq respond to the Dow Jones correction. So that's the first thing we're looking for. See if the markets give us the rest of the correction. All right. Once that happens, the next thing we're looking to see bullish sentiment. All the institutions are going to come out of the safe havens, and every single thing on the media, everyone's going to get that phone call. No more bearish. Isn't that crazy how that works? All of the news will go bullish at the same time. Everybody's going to get the phone call because they gotta recommit everybody. They got to inject that confidence in the markets. No more fear, no more uncertainty. And they got to battle Trump and his fear and uncertainty with the tariffs. So you're going to see the entire media go bullish on the stock market. Every single thing that happens, they're going to find a bullish spin. That's the second thing we're looking for. You're going to start seeing them. The majority of their commentary is going to be on the Mag 7 because that's the anchor of everything else, right? So they're going to start talking heavily on NVIDIA, heavily on Apple. Meta, that's something else that I wanted to bring up. Meta was the only stock that was not affected by the sell-off. And I wanted to explain this. Because everybody else looks at this as a bullish kind of metric. Everybody's looking at the fact that Meta was not hit as hard as everybody else. The only one that's still green. Let me explain what this is. Nobody cares. That's the reason why. Meta was not worth selling off. Meta is the villain right now. This whole TikTok thing, everybody's boycotting Meta, Facebook, Instagram. That's the reason why Meta didn't sell off. Because no one cares. And their technology is not something that's going to impact the rest of the tech. They're specifically on social media and VR. and neither one of them is going to impact the supply chains of the rest of the Mag 7. They're not adding to the infrastructure. They're not adding to the supply chain. None of their tech is mandatory. Everything that Meta has, everything that Meta offers is discretionary. It's not an essential. You can say social media is essential, but really it's not. The car, your computer, shopping on Amazon, these are the essentials. Meta does not have anything of real substance that it can offer that it's sharing with the rest of the Mag 7. So they're just there. But what you're going to start seeing, the third thing that we're looking for, we're going to see as the markets kind of rebound and recover, everybody's going to start talking about the Mag 7 again. Broadcom, NVIDIA, Apple. They're going to get back to business. Start talking about value. And they're going to start with the Mag 7, and then you'll start seeing them kind of mention some of the lower levels. They're the market leaders, like Cisco and Oracle, Walmart. These kind of market leaders, they'll start mentioning them as well. But everything is going to talk about bullish so that we can get the bullish. Because isn't that what people do? Everyone listens to the news. So let's make the phone call. No more bearish, guys. Let's turn the markets around. Isn't that crazy how it works? These people can make a phone call and change the entire perspective of the media. And then as everybody starts to get that confidence, everyone starts to see the value that they're showing you on the news. Now everybody's going to start trickling back into the markets, and then that's when the recovery will start. And I do this, guys, because I want you to be able to do the same thing. I can do this in my brain because I know competition. I know how institutions move. I know how the system works. And all I got to do is keep kind of narrating it, keep kind of going through the sequence over and over again. And eventually, oh, yeah, this is what Aaron was saying. And at some point, you're going to stop saying, well, this is what Aaron is saying. And you're just going to believe it on your own. Oh, this is what the market's going to do. I'm not even going to be in the equation anymore. So that's what we're looking for this week and probably going into next week, the rest of March. I think the recovery, remember I said it takes about up to 3 months it can take for the correction to kind of recover. And I think it might happen in less than 30 days. I think all of April we're going to get the recovery. I don't think it's going to linger. Now, I did tell you that we're still going to get the aftershocks of the tariffs. So as we start getting into the economic events next month, all of those going to be bearish. As we get into quarterly earnings for Q2, all of those we already see. The majority of the corporations are giving their outlooks. All of the outlooks are bearish because people are factoring in the tariffs. So believe me, we are far from the bear cycle ending. The correction is ending. But we are going to still going to start. We're still going to get a few bursts of the bear market continuing to go down. And I think maybe that is where the recovery is going to start. Let's get the next set of economic events out the way. And that's why I say it can take up to 3 months. So if we're on that timeline of 3 months, we're going to have a bad quarterly I'm sorry, we're going to have bad economic events and bad quarterly earnings. And then, like I said, at some point, maybe that's when we'll get the correction. I'm sorry, we'll get the recovery. But it typically takes about 3 months. All right, guys, let me go ahead and go over today's. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that you've seen in your analysis or research, any sound bites, any confirmations, anything that you guys have seen, we're open. I did want to mention real quick that Elon Musk is scared. And I don't know how much of these sound bites are correct, but somebody got a snippet of Mark Rubio's phone. There was some kind of sound bite that he had or something. Like I said, I don't know how true this is, but Elon Musk was crying. He was crying to Trump, like literally crying, because he puts up a really good face. And if you guys go back and look at that interview with Elon Musk, where the guy was asking, how are things going? How are you able to do this and also kind of manage all your companies? The man has lost half his value or close to it. I know he's stressing. I know he has all of those open loans that are coming due. I know the man is hurting. He just doesn't show it. But in that interview, he had this long pause. He did this long inhale, this long exhale. I could see the pain in his face.
I'm just
Elon
trying
Musk
to
is
make
hurt.
that. Did you hear him? He said, "I'm just trying to make the government more efficient."
Yep. But you can tell that man was in pain because most people don't understand the real pain he's in. He's borrowing against everything else. He thought that his, $300 billion value was Teflon. But what did I say, guys? You are not gonna come after the finance people behind the finances. The Jewish community, the Rothschilds, the Goldman Sachs. These people are 8 generations deep. They're the ones that created the global financial system. 75% of the people, the Russian oligarchs, are Jewish. The Mexican president is Jewish. Almost every financial and corporate CEO is Jewish. You think they're going to let you do that gesture and there's no consequences? Cut off your funding. Cut off your supply chain. Cut off your leverage. No longer going to buy your products. Canada put a 100% tariff on the Tesla cars. Europe boycotted all Tesla cars. And have you guys seen they have something called Cybertruck hunters. There are people on the road trying to hunt down Cybertrucks and then vandalize them. People are vandalizing. Have you seen these rechargeable stations? They're setting torture to them. They're vandalizing cars, the trucks, the facilities, the showrooms. Tesla is a target. Nobody's buying the cars. Hertz lost nearly $3 billion. They bought a fleet of Teslas, and now they're trying to sell the Teslas. They can't. There's no resale value on Teslas.
Yeah, Coach, didn't they try to enact some, I don't want to call it legislation, but they cited if there's any damage to any Tesla property, they're going to try to prosecute you to the fullest extent.
Under domestic terrorism. So the man is hurting, and I also told you he's getting pressure from the Tesla board members. You got to resign. Because here's the thing, it's already a proven fact. I saw an article or interview where somebody basically said there's no way that he's running Tesla. He's at the government. He can't do both jobs. Being a CEO is a full-time job. All the intricacies that are coming across his desk for final approval, he's not making them. I don't know who he has in place, But there's already a hidden CEO in Tesla. So it's nothing for him to relinquish control. He's already in the advisory position. So believe me, he's getting pressure. And that's when they're gonna rebrand, take his name off of the company, and they're gonna get everything back. They're gonna get their funding, their leverage, they're gonna get their approvals for projects. The sales are gonna pick back up. But none of that's gonna happen until Elon Musk steps down from Tesla.
As much as I hate to admit it, at least he'll get a pretty cool looking chainsaw out the deal.
The parting gift. Oh, that's what has to happen. So I did want to mention that Elon Musk is hurting right now. And this is going to be, and like I said, it's one of the predictions. You would never think that the richest man in the world will go bankrupt. It is very, very possible because he did not set up his finances correctly. And believe me, there are always people in place that advise you better. And so, because here's something else that I tell people. Right now, Trump made an announcement about DC. He's going to rename DC because he thinks Colombia has something to do with the country Colombia. He doesn't know the reason why it's called District of Columbia is a reference to Christopher Columbus. So he's trying to rename that District of America. Go ahead,
Coach. Coach, to be honest with you, some of these things are getting pretty hard to figure out if that's AI trolling or.
I know.
When
I hear the sound bites, I'm like, is that really Trump? Yeah, that's what he's trying to do.
You got to go confirm it when you hear it 3 times over.
Yep. Because the stuff that comes out of his mouth. But this is what I tell people in the comment section. He's the president. There's no way that he doesn't have like 5 people, in his entourage that can fact check this stuff or say, I'm sorry, Mr. President, that's not the Columbia you think it is. But he's such a narcissist, or he has so many yes men in his camp that nobody wants to tell him no. Nobody wants to tell him he's wrong.
You got to think it's like, what is it? I forget the saying, but something as a fox. First you say, you're like, surely it can't be. And then you start saying, unless. That's what I start doing in my head. But
yep.
I'd be interested to know how many people in here have seen Idiocracy, because really that movie
it is dead on point, right?
It's crazy.
Yep.
But that's exactly what this is.
I liken it to the emperor's without his clothes. That's really what it is. Nobody wants to tell the emperor he's naked. Nobody wants to tell Trump, that's not what that means. So they just stay quiet. But in that, they really are exposing Trump, that he doesn't know what he's talking about. The District of Columbia. Oh, no. We don't want anything to do with Columbia. So we're going to name it District of America, which I got to be honest with you, I agree with. It shouldn't be. Christopher Columbus was a horrible person. Genocide. It shouldn't be named after him. And then you didn't name it Columbus. So I never agree with the name. But the premise behind it, come up with a better narrative. I agree with it shouldn't be called District of Columbia, but not for the reason you're doing it. I think most people would agree with the Gulf of America if he had worded it correctly. But he comes up with this crazy, makes no sense. But these are the things that we're dealing with in the headlines, guys. Most of it is noise. I even tell you, most of it is comedy. It's a reality show. I spend most of my time laughing especially with Elon Musk right now. FAFO. I'm laughing my butt off. That man thought that he can get on Beyonce's internet. Crazy. That man thought he can get away with that. Do you know who runs the world? Do you know who Rothschilds are? He knows now. But this is what happens when you think you're the most powerful person in the world. I'm the richest man in the world. Okay, give me a second. Come back in 3 months and say that statement again. Everybody thinks they're apex predator until they meet the apex predator. Here's something else. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most money lost. $140 billion. Never been done before. He's in the Guinness Books of World Records for the most money lost. And that man is hurting. And then what did I tell you about the self-harm? I gave you that I gave you that story of that German billionaire. Remember I told you that story about that German billionaire. He was the richest man in Germany. He loved that accolade of being the richest man in Germany. And then when I think in 2008, he lost all that money. He lost that title. He was a freaking billionaire, unalive. So do not think that Elon Musk will not go that far. He loved the fact that he was the richest man in the world. So that narrative is not done. People are also calling for the end of Doge. We talked about this as well. I said Doge is probably going to fail within the first 100 days of Trump's presidency. I said either that relationship is going to end, and then Doge is going to end. And then what did I say? Once that ends, once that relationship ends, and once the Doge ends, crypto is going to crash. It's already crashed. I gave that prediction as well. All of our predictions are coming true, guys, little by little. All right, so let me give you today's masterclass assignment. All right, we went over the ones this weekend. We're coming to the end of our Cheetah instincts. Let me show it to you. We're going to transition into the next ones. Give me a second. Let me bring this up. Today we're getting into the smarts. Let me share this. So over the weekend, we did the stability and the speed. And then now we're getting into the smarts. So basically there are 10 things here. Basically assignments, right? I want you to pick one of these assignments. And the whole purpose of it is for you to kind of learn that acumen. And the acumen is to know what to do without thinking about it. That's the best way to describe what you're trying to learn. Real smarts is that secondary gut feeling, intuition. That's what smarts really are. You know you're doing it right. You know the next thing to do. You just don't know why your brain and why your body is telling you this is the best thing. So for you to be able to develop that trading acumen, that instinctual kind of way of trading, these are the 10 things. Let's go over them very quickly. Number 1, start slow, then speed up. Do everything really, really small, and then as you're trying to develop, because there are basically two things you want to do. The two things you want to get out of this: good judgment and quick decision making. Let me show it to you. Good judgment and quick decision making. And if those two are your ultimate goals, that is what these assignments are doing. So if you want to get that, if you want to learn that quick decision making, start slow and then slowly speed up. Speed up on your trading, speed up on your entry exit, speed up. Start slow, then slowly speed up. Number two, focus on one skill at a time. One market, one analysis, one assignment, one task. Number three, trade in different market conditions. And right now you have the ability to do that. Trade the bullish, trade the bearish, trade the uncertainty, or you stay out of the markets. Incorporate real. Keep in mind, you're in simulation. That's the whole point of this. Sometimes you have to create a real world scenario, right? So real world constraints. Factor in real world factors like transaction costs, liquidity constraints, news events. So even when you're in your broker, we teach you this. Go through the whole sequence. That way you're making sure you're hitting every point. That way when you get into the real markets, you have that same muscle memory. So go through the full sequence of your trading routine. Set goals for each session. What do I want to achieve? Let me pull out my trading plan. Like I said, go through everything. Pull out your trading plan. Write down everything you're trying to achieve, your goal, your task, your assignment, your profit goal, all of it. Set clear goals for every session. Stay disciplined. Stick to your trading plan. All right? Learn from mistakes. Things are going to come up. Here's what I did right. Here's what I did wrong. Here's what I'm going to do better on the next trade. And then on the next trade, you're going to pick another assignment and another task. And I've given you dozens at this point, depending on what you want to work on. All right. You have something called a feedback loop. All right. Review your simulations and identify areas of improvement for better judgment and decision making. All right. Simulate regularly. You got to be consistent. Trade the same time. Trade the same time every day, the same time frame every day, and trade the same market, and use the same analytics. Use the same economic events. Be consistent. And then, as I said, once you learn that thing as well as possible, you can then transition over to the next. But you want to be as proficient as you can in that one thing. And then the last thing is transition gradually into your live trading. And we already showed you. We have that contract ladder waiting for you guys. But we got to make sure that you're learning everything in simulation first. So these are the things that you're going to be working on, slowly progressing. Like I say, everything is progressive. You're not doing everything all at once, but you're slowly going to add on these different assignments. So at the end of the simulation, you're complete. You're ready. You're ready to transition into the live trading. So if you take these 10 assignments, you're then going to apply different tasks. You have tasks for your developing good judgment. You have your tasks for developing quick decision making. And then you have another task where you combine the two. Because that's the real skill set, being able to combine the two so you know you are proficient. All right, but this is the last thing in this section. All right, from here, we're going to transition into, I believe, let me look at the schedule real quick. We're going to transition into, come on. Routine. We're going into the routine next. So that's the next thing we're going to go over. Every single day is a new assignment as we go through our routine. All right, we're going to start that on Wednesday. Right, we're going to give you 2 days to kind of put this together for the smarts, and then on Wednesday we'll start our routine. All right, we got everything for you guys. All right, let me go ahead and get off of TikTok and YouTube. I want to thank everybody for their attendance. Let me get off of YouTube as well. Do you guys have any questions?